All right, guys, what's up? This is the last lesson for Unit 3. And today we're going to be talking about shaping the new republic, right? We'll be diving in how the United States shaped its new republic, covering from the time period 1754 to 1800. We'll also look at some essential political developments, institutions, and party systems that helped define the new nation. Without further ado, let's begin. So throughout this presentation, keep this essential question in mind, which reads, how did the political ideas, institutions, and party systems develop in the new republic, right? This question will guide our exploration of the key events and figures in early American history. So let's go ahead and move on. So let's go ahead and complete this kind of notes, and we'll be talking about putting the Constitution to work, but I like to focus on the highlighted parts. I actually gave this to you guys today. Right now it's Thursday evening, about 5:30. This is prep for me, but yes, it's now highlighted. So without further ado, if you missed anything from class, go ahead and write it down in your notes, but let's go ahead and talk about putting the Constitution to work. So after the ratification of the Constitution, George Washington created 4 cabinet departments, right, which was State, Treasury, War, and Attorney General to ensure the government could function. The Judiciary Act of 1789 also established the Supreme Court, giving it authority to rule on constitutional issues. So, if you look at the little cartoon guy, he's ripping up the congressional power, right, the implied powers, and as you can see, everything in this slide is basically what I summed up right now. So without further ado, I don't want to waste any more of your time. It's kind of a lengthy lecture today as well, about 14 slides. So we got about 11 more to go over. So let's go. So when talking about George Washington's cabinet, right, was composed of some of the brightest minds of all time, right? The president had the power to select his advisors, and Washington made sure to include experts in finance, military, and diplomacy to lead the young nation. So, you guys can see in that picture you got the Secretary of War, Secretary of Treasury, and Secretary of State and Attorney General, right? And I like to point out Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton, and George Washington because we have talked about these guys previous units and lectures. So just keep that in mind. This is his first cabinet, and it's a young, bright team, like I just mentioned. It's the dream team of history, if you want to put it that way. So without further ado, let's go on. So let's go ahead and talk about the Judiciary Act of 1789, which was basically, it laid a foundation for the federal court system. It created the Supreme Court with John Jay as the first Chief Justice and empowered it to address issues, constitutionality coming from the state courts. Go ahead and write down the guided notes. That's pretty much what we need to know from this slide. Let's move on real quick. So in this slide, we're going to be talking about new political parties, Federalist, right? So the Federalist, led by figures like Alexander Hamilton, believed in a strong central government, right? They supported commerce, industry, and had a loose interpretation of the Constitution, favoring implied powers. Their support came from mainly urban areas in the Northeast. As you guys can see, pro-British foreign policy, a strong central government, and so this is what they pretty much, believed in. As I just mentioned, Alexander Hamilton is mentioned. It's also highlighted, so make sure to write it down. And without further ado, let's continue with the lesson. And for this line, we're going to be talking about new political party, Democratic Republicans, right? So on the other side, the Democratic Republicans, which was led by Thomas Jefferson, favored in a limited central government with a certain focus, right? They were strict when it came to the Constitution and supported the common man. Their support was concentrated in the South and West, where farming was dominant. So you also see on there, it also says pro-French foreign policy, support for democracy and the common man. So as you guys can see, it's highlighted on the bottom, Thomas Jefferson. Go ahead and write down the slide if you guys can see everything. But without further ado, let's just continue moving on for the lesson. So in this slide, we're going to be talking about Hamilton's financial plan, right? So Hamilton's financial plan was aimed to strengthen the national economy by assuming state debts, right? Imposing tariffs to protect the American industry and establishing a national bank. These proposals, especially the bank, sparked significant debate and would rather play a major role in Jackson's presidency. So, all you have to do is assume and pay off the state debts. That's on the bottom: state, tariffs, and national, right? That's all you need to write down for this. And if you need any more assistance, like I say, if you have any questions or comments or concerns, just email me or message me on Teams. But without further ado, let's move on. For this slide, we're going to be talking about on the frontier, right? So as settlers expanded westward, the new republic had to organize these lands and manage conflicts with the Native American tribes. 3 new states, which is Vermont, Kentucky, and Tennessee, were admitted, while the Treaty of Greenville in 1795 ended conflict in the Ohio Territory. So that pretty much just sums up the whole slide. Go ahead and write down the highlighted on the PowerPoint. I'm trying to make this as fast as I can, but we're on slide 9. We're about to be on slide 10, so we're almost done. Just keep up with me, all right? Let's go on. So you just have some questions on this one, right? But they're asking about the Whiskey Rebellion. So the Whiskey Rebellion that taken place in 1794 was a major test for the new government, right? So farmers in western Pennsylvania protested a tax on whiskey, a staple of their economy. The rebellion's suppression by Washington demonstrated the power and authority of the federal government to enforce laws. So, go ahead. That's pretty much explains what it's asking. But if you need to go back, go ahead and go back. But I'm trying to get this done. I want to go home. But let's go ahead and move on. So as you got in front of you, it says Alien and Sedition Acts, right? So in response to perceived threats from the foreign nations, Congress passed Aliens and Sedition Acts in 1798. And these laws gave the president broad authority to detain or deport non-citizens and criminalize criticism of the government, right? So they were highly controversial and opposed by the Democrat Republicans. Okay, let's go on and get more information on this. I know it's on the other slide, but let's go. So in this slide, it's talking about the Aliens Acts, right? So the Aliens Friends Act allowed the president to deport any non-citizen deemed dangerous, while the Alien Enemies Act prohibited the arrest and deportation of non-citizens from hostile nations. So the Naturalizations Act extended the residency requirement for citizenship, aiming to reduce immigrant influence on politics. So it pretty much just explains what I said to you, right? That was short and brief. You have the Alien Friends Act and you have the Alien Enemies Act and Naturalization Act, which goes in order. But go ahead and write down the notes and let's go ahead and move on. We have 2 more slides. Let's go. So on this one, we're talking about the Sedition Acts, right? So the Sedition Acts made it illegal to publish false or scandalous writing against the government, right? It was designed to suppress opposition to the Federalist administration, especially from the Democratic Republican newspapers. So that's pretty cool. As you guys can see, there's a little cartoon on the bottom over there. Go ahead and then dissect that as well and correlate it to the slide information I just gave you guys. So one more slide after this. We're on slide 13. It's been almost 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and move on. It's about 5:45 now, and I'm trying to get home. So let's finish this. All right, so this is the last slide of Unit 3 and 3.11. So after this, I'm going home. So let's just kill this last slide, man. Okay, so in reactions to the Alien and Sedition Acts, right, the Kentucky and Virginia resolutions were drafted by Democratic Republicans, right? And these solutions argue that states had the right to nullify federal laws they believed were unconstitutional, right? Setting the stage for future debates on state rights. But that pretty much just explains the last slide of Unit 3. The video has been about 10 minutes. It's a lot of information. Go back if you need to get some, for me to repeat it for you guys. This is to help you guys study and to make sure you guys are getting the content. I don't know if you guys were absent or stepped out at a certain point, but I'm hoping you guys are utilizing these video lectures for more in-depth. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm about to go home. I'm hungry. And yeah, I hope you guys I'll post this tomorrow. So today's Thursday, tomorrow will be Friday. I hope you guys have a good weekend if you're watching it to the weekend. Hope you're enjoying it. Don't stress. Unit 3 exam is on Wednesday, but we'll review for about 2 days for this one to get you guys prepared. And it's a short week next week, so I'll stop yapping. All right, so you guys have a good one. See ya.